Hey YouTube, it's Alicia here, and I'm here to give you a Black History video. I am going to try to give you three videos like this 3 times out of a week. So I'm going to do one today, Wednesday, and Friday. So expect 2 more coming this week. But today I'm going to be doing a Black History on African American Black wrestlers. I mean, we know the wrestlers of today in the WWE, and when I say in WWE, in AEW, in Shimmer, New Japan, and Lucha Underground. We know these wrestlers. We know the Sasha Banks. Everybody knows Sasha Banks, Bianca Belair, and everything. But we don't know more. We don't know much about our African wrestlers of the past. So, one wrestler in particular, a couple wrestlers from the past I do want to highlight is the first one is, I hope I pronounce his name correct, and these are Black men pioneers. One was named Verto, Viro, Verto Smalls, and he was a African American wrestler. And y'all be shocked, he was a African American wrestler in 1854, and he was born a slave. And thinking this is a guy. When I did all the research, when I read up on him, and I'm going, oh my God, this guy was a slave. So during this time period, he was a slave. He was a champion. He was a collar, elbow champion twice and everything. And I'm going, wow, this guy is. And he wrestled in New York. He was a good, I mean, here's where it starts with him. Vito, there we go. Vito, Viro, Vito Smalls, there we go. Vito Smalls, and like I'm saying, he was champion and everything. And knowing that he was a slave, he was enslaved, but he was he was a slave. I don't know if y'all wondering, when I say he was a slave, he was a slave. He was a slave in, I hope I pronounced this, Bunford, South Carolina in 1850. He got better known as for his wrestling in 1881. So yes, I mean, that's a pretty good guy. Let me see. Ridge Rage Skits. Now he was also a wrestler. He made his debut in 1955. Another African American wrestler. He is from Windsor, Canada. He wrestled in the Windsor, Canada, New York, and Los Angeles area. About the late 1940s, he became very popular. Popular star in his 20s. He's a legend. He has wrestled the likes of Larry Moquin, Willie Davis, Jim Black Panther Marshall, Vince Christie, Gino Galaby, and Joe Save, and Rudy Duskin. And like, yeah, he's one, oh, excuse me. And he's one of our Black pioneers back in the days before you see the pioneers you see today. Okay. Then we have Sug Thomas. Sug, S-H, Sug Thomas, and everybody called him King Sug, and he was also a trailblazer, and everything. He was okay, Northwest Pacific Tag Team Champs 16 times with his partner Les Luther Leslie. Now that's another champ. They both wrestle together. He has had several different tag team partners, from like I'm saying, Luther Leslie to Tony Bone, Party Martin, and thing, and he became also one of the biggest trailblazers in thing. Yeah, so that's the men I wanted to mention. So I can just you have Ethel Johnson. Y'all probably have heard of Ethel Johnson. Ethel Johnson, Babs Bigelow, Catherine. Can but yeah, those are a couple of female legends right there. And with them being the female legends that they are, it is some documentaries with about Ethel Johnson and talking about they pioneering. They are was the um, unforgotten female wrestlers, pioneers for the black women we see today and think. And I know everybody knows some of the current wrestlers. So those are some legendary wrestlers I wanted to talk about. So before I forget, I want to come and talk about Tony Atlas and Rocky Johnson. Tony Atlas and Rocky Johnson was the first ever black tag team in the WWE, and I remember people talking about that when I was very before my time, and that was right before my time. But these two were tag teams champs. Ron Simmons. Don't forget Ron Simmons is the first inaugural champ, and I think he was. Let me see. I think he was the first inaugural champ for the WCW Heavyweight Championship. And then do you have Booker T and his brother, better known as the Harlem Heats? They are also was WCW tag team champs. And I think there was tag team champs. I don't want to botch nothing, but I think there was tag team champs 10 or 16 times. Somebody comment below. But yeah. Then you have Mark Henry, who was also a heavyweight champ as well in the WWE. Booker T is also a 5-time champ in his single run. 5-time champ also in his single run. We have Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who has had several titles, from the Intercontinental title belt to the Universal world title belt and thing, and it carries on. Then let's talk about Jacqueline right quick, because Jacqueline did something I can recall people talked about and stuff. And Jacqueline kind of did something almost similar to what Chyna did. And what I'm talking about, Jacqueline is the first ever woman of color or woman ever to actually win the men's Intercontinental Championship. I was like, oh my God. When I heard about that, that was something I remember people talking about when I was young and big, and I'm like, this is history. This is our history. So now let's talk about what's going on now in the WWE. We're kind of now seeing minorities holding titles now, African American wrestlers. And y'all remember back here last year, I did a video about this, and now I'm finna tell you, we got none other than Bobby Lashley as the U.S. champion. We have none other Cedric Alexander, and Shelton Benjamin as Raw's tag team champs. Now that's that. Now we have R-Truth, who is the 24/7 champ. And we have Sasha Banks, who is the SmackDown's Women's Championship. We have 4 Black African Americans. 4, let's count them. 4 African Americans holding titles. Now let's talk about Sunday and stuff. But let me just give some honorable mentions. We do have to mention Apollo Crews. Apollo Crews this past summer was the U.S. champion as well this past summer. And I'm like, oh my God, we need to see more of that. And the one thing I have to come and talk about, we have to talk about this past Sunday. I think Bianca Belair made history and being the first female to ever win, to ever win the Women's Royal Rumble. To get me to say everything I just said, our African American wrestling, we're going somewhere. And I just think it's all about just showing our capability. Now, let me get off of WWE for a minute and talk about TNA. Moose just won the heavyweight championship on TNA. Wow. And you got a lot of firsts for this coming up in the wrestling world, and I'm just thinking, wow, this is great. But we might soon get a legacy. We might get our first African American legacy in the WWE. And I want to talk about Trevor and Terrell Dudley. Now, if I say Dudley, y'all know whose sons these are. Devon Dudley's twin sons. They might be our first African American legacy in the WWE that we have ever seen and stuff. We know The Rock is a legacy, but he represents a different family, and that's going to come at a later date. But Devon Dudley sons will be the first African American legacies to come in if they ever came to WWE. Okay, y'all, my name is Alicia. I'm Alicia. Don't forget to thumbs up this video, comment below, and subscribe to my channel. Bye.